Okay.
Um, she's in the consulting world and I'm in the logistics world. So
Okay.
I was trying to get, that's where the money at. I was looking at how much they put out for infrastructure for the next year. So I'm trying to get that money.
All right. I'm not mad at you. Well, it is 9:35. And I'm going to go ahead and get started because I'm conscious of your time and I appreciate you all joining me on this Saturday morning. And we getting ready to get a little educated here on this space. Um, this will be, it is being recorded. Please put your information in the chat so we can make sure that we give you a copy of the recording at the end of the workshop. And Jarrell, you got your camera going on. You know, figured it out.
Hey, I had to get it done. I see all these smiling, excited faces. I want to show mine.
All right now. All right. Welcome again to GPI. We love, I'm have to change that, creating billionaires. And building generational wealth through federal procurement. I will say, consistently, now is our time. It is our time based on what I know and what I've seen this administration is doing and what they've done over the last 2 years. And specifically trying to bridge the generational gap in wealth through these contracts. And I will consistently say, we're not prepared. And when she wins, because I'm going to claim that she's going to win, the doors are going to be open wider, but we're not prepared. We don't have a clue about how to even get into the game. I say this, and I say it because this is how they're doing it. They're doing it through an executive order that was issued at the end of 23, where they were mandating that these agencies increase the amount of awards specifically to Black-owned businesses. And they have been making their marks, or they're getting to that point. But originally the goal has been 5%. Now they want at least 15% to be awarded by FY 2025. And I'll go into depth on why those goals make a difference. And right here you can see they are specifically focusing on Black and brown businesses and making sure we get some of these dollars that are really our tax dollars. I think everybody have to think about, when you're taking this entrepreneurship journey, what is your why? Why are you doing this? Because your why is what's going to keep you going. My why is because of my father, who was one of the first Black police officers in Asheville, North Carolina. He ended up having to sue the city based on discrimination. He won, got his back pay, retired, and then he ran for city council and won. And while he was on a city councilman, he saw land by the projects and he felt like the kids needed a park to play in. So he was able to get it funded. And now we have a park in his name. And so for me, it's all about continuing to build for the future. And it's really not about any of us. It's making sure, as our ancestors did, that the future is set. And this is my mission, my purpose, and why I do what I do. For those of you who don't know who I am, again, I'm originally from Asheville, North Carolina. After college, I went to Washington, D.C., and I was like, y'all free up here. No, I'd never seen that many Black people owning businesses up in DC, and everybody was a government contractor. My first job was I was hired as an event planner with a company who was a part of the 8A program. How many of you heard of the 8A program? Anybody?
Mm-mm.
Nobody's heard of the 8A program?
I have
No.
not.
I've
Okay.
heard of it, but I'm not really. I know it's benefit of getting that certification, but I don't. That's about all I know.
Okay. We're going to go into more depth about this program. Um, my first job was with a company who was a part of that program, and I ended up attaching myself to a contract that was a part of that program. And so every 3 years, I went with the contract. I ended up going through 6 companies before I started my first business in 1996. But as I was going through those companies, I was watching and studying them and seeing how they were becoming successful. So my first year in business, I received my first $1 million contract. Second year, I applied into the 8A program, received another $3 million contract, and I continued to grow the business very quickly. In 5 years, I had almost $15 million in contracts and almost 40 employees. And I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I went from a project manager to running a multi-million dollar company. I had 2 business partners, one who felt like he could run his personal expenses through the company. And the last straw for me was a $3,000 custom-made pinstripe suit with his initial going down the pinstripe. I looked at him and said, "You have lost your mind." I had my assistant to do an audit on his credit card. He takes her in the elevator and threatens her. I then terminates him. He then conspired with 2 employees to sue me and the other partner for sexual harassment. He was their alibi. After 2 years of attorney fees, $125,000 in attorney fees, $100,000 to buy him out, I had no more operating cash. So I had to transfer $7 million of my contracts to another 8A firm. But and closed the business in 2005. But what it did is put me on my new passion because I realized no one was training us on how to start a business and grow a business on that level, how to manage a business. So I volunteered 2 years as a score counselor. And while I was a score counselor, I set up government workshop training, ran out of money 2 years later, and applied for a position at SBA. I was hired in the Philadelphia district office, and that office was the office that actually processed the application for businesses getting into that program. My job was to service the businesses once they got into the program. I was in Philadelphia for 4 years, relocated here to Atlanta in 2012, and realized that SBA was really dysfunctional, the government's dysfunctional. Understanding that I really was the only one at SBA who had run a business and understood their programs. What was missing for me was understanding how the agencies actually put together the solicitations for you to compete on. So while at this Atlanta district office, we were required to become certified as a contract specialist. And that really is what helped make sense to me. I now had run a business for 10 years, understood SBA's operations for 7, and now I understood what steps the government put out for you to compete on those bids. So I was certified as a contract specialist, trained more than 10,000 businesses on marketing to the federal government, assisted small businesses to win over 1.5 billion in contracts across various agencies. And I've self-published a book called That's Crazy, Recognize Crazy, and Run. It is all based on that first business, and names have been changed to protect the innocent. Everybody want to get to the mountaintop, but there's stuff that comes with the mountaintop that I was not prepared for. So when you look at getting into getting into this space and what I saw working at SBA, and even myself as a small business owner on the other side, trying to understand the game. What I realized when I was teaching workshops at SBA and SBA's resource partners, you go in and everybody's hyped with the great information, but nobody was quite sure on how to actually market to the government. No one knew how to connect the dots. And it's the same thing with these government agencies. No one understands SBA unless you worked on the inside of SBA. And it leads to a lot of confusion. What are the challenges when you're trying to get into the space? Understanding the government language. The government assumes you understand what they're talking about. Government use a whole lot of acronyms. They also assume that you understand their processes. Once you get your certification or determine what certifications you're required, then what documentation do you need to have to apply for those certifications? Also understanding everybody works in a silo. Each of these agencies are separated. There's one database for you to register your business to do business with the government, and then there's another database you have to register that SBA manages. And that's where the craziness comes in. No one talks to each other. With that in mind, that's what made me leave SBA and create this program. Because what I realized servicing the businesses in SBA is that nobody understood the process. And so I created this program based on my first business and what I saw working at SBA and lessons learned. And the first lesson is to not limit your business. You cannot pigeonhole yourself in this space. Most small businesses start their business based on their skill set. Hear me now. Managing a business has nothing to do with your skill set. Understanding that the system has been designed for us to be laborers. Your degree is teaching you how to go work for someone. No one is teaching us the business side. I say not to limit your business because that was the first thing my mentor told me when I started marketing to the agencies. I was marketing my business as an event planning company. And he said, "Why are you pigeonholing yourself?" And based on those companies that I'd gone through and saw their success, it made sense. So I changed my business model. In this space, most people are management consulting. Once I changed my business model, and what I mean by that is I created divisions. I created an event planning division. I created an IT division. I created a communication division. I created a database division. And then I found the people with those skill sets. Now that business is not based on my skill set. Once I won that $1 million contract, I was not doing events anymore. I had employees. That's the biggest challenge that I find as we've trained businesses over these years is understanding that you don't have to know anything about that contract to win. Can I get an amen from the church?
Amen.
Does that
Amen.
make sense to y'all?
Yes,
Yes.
indeed.
So
Amen.
in the first module, we teach you how to create a business model. Yeah, one of the verticals or one of your divisions will be in your background, but everything else is going to mirror on based on what the government is buying. So we teach you in the business ready module on how to create a model based on you looking and following the money. What happens in our community, and I always use basketball as an example. My daddy wanted me to play sports. So I play basketball. And when I look at basketball and I look at business, it's the same sports to me. But what we tend to do is push our children. When you look at the NBA model, we want them to be LeBron and Stephon. And my thing is, if LeBron and Stephon is making $200 million, how much is the owner making? And does the owner have to know anything about basketball? Can someone tell me what the owner of the NBA goal is as that owner every year? What's their goal? Someone.
To
Make money.
championship.
How are they making money?
Yep.
Huh?
Making money.
How are they making money? What are they doing?
They're managing the business.
By how? What are
Getting
they
the best
doing?
players.
Huh?
Getting the best players.
Getting the best player. They're getting their dream team. And that's what you do in business. You're going to create a business model based on your dream team with the experts on what the government is buying. That's how you make money in America. We were brought over here to man the land and free labor. That game hasn't changed. America makes money based on the land and the labor. So for me, we got to understand it's not about my skill set. It's about us changing the mindset and understanding how to manage and grow a business. The second component is understanding that you have to collaborate in this space. When I look at the number of people that's currently online, and that's why I wanted you to put your information in the chat, it's important that we learn to collaborate because I see this as one big contract. All other communities come over here, and that's how they get locked down on our communities. You look at the beauty supply, you look at the nail nail salons. They are working together and they have a lockdown on that space. Right? And they're making the money off of us because they learn to understand that if we all come together, we help one business, the next business is in line. And it's enough money out here for everyone. We were trained to compete against each other. In this space, it's about pulling your resources together and everybody can get a piece of the pie. I'm going to be preaching this morning. Can I get an amen from the church?
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen.
We have to change our mindset. We have to. It's a matter of survival right now. Third, you must have the infrastructure in place. What do I mean by infrastructure, someone?
I would
Any,
say like your business foundations, just making sure you are registered and have all of the systems, processes in place to kind of take business, to be able to receive payments.
your accountant and your attorneys.
Yep.
I was sued. So anybody that's currently employed, or when you start winning contract and hiring employees, you need to make sure that you have employment practice liability insurance. Had I had that insurance, that would have covered my lawsuit. It's not the same as errors in omission. Errors in omission is to protect you on the outside. Employment practice liability insurance would have covered my attorney fees and my settlement with the partner. So when you look at the federal government, when does the federal government's fiscal year start and end, someone?
Start October 1st.
All right, and end September 30th. So what you're hearing now is the typical process. You're hearing they have 12 days left to pay past the budget, and then you're always hearing somebody's going to threaten a shutdown. But for you as a business owner, I'm very strategic. There's a peak time and a downtime to market to the government. The peak time to market is generally October to February or March. And this year, because it's an election year, sometimes the money flows a little differently. The peak time, why I say the peak time is October to February or March, is because these agencies are operating on a limited budget. And they're not really doing anything. So that's when you want to get in the door and start building the relationships with them. Because once they receive their money, they're trying to get rid of the money. So they have a short window, generally I would say from April to September, to get rid of a whole lot of money, and they're not trying to talk to you. And it's still about building relationships. Why federal contracts? Every year, the federal government set aside 23% of the contracts for small businesses without any certifications. I think everybody gets the impressions that I have to have all these certifications to compete with the government. I mean, on government contracts. No, you can compete just as a small business. The certifications are designed to help agency meet these goals, which are established by SBA every year. So 23% of contracts are for small businesses, 5% for women-owned, 5% for small disadvantaged businesses. They've just increased the service disabled veteran-owned goals to 5% and 3% for hub zone. So what that means for you, the more certifications you have, you're helping the agency achieve their goals. As an example, if you were awarded a contract for $100,000, that agency gets credit of $100,000 for small business goals. Let's say you're a small business and woman-owned. Now that agency gets $200,000 credit towards their goals for women-owned. So that's the whole purpose of the certifications. And over here, what you'll see on your right-hand side is how SBA tracks them and displays on a scorecard to embarrass them of who's achieved their goals or not achieved their goals. So we teach you how to create a strategy based on who's not met their goals. You see, they didn't meet their goals for the last fiscal year in the women owned. So I'm going to look at every agency, and this is the link that'll take you to every agency, and you can see who fell short. But over here, you can see there's a whole lot of money. It was $76 billion. And you can see this 12% that we were talking about earlier. They're trying to get this to 15%. So it's a whole lot of money out here to play with. What I realized when I left Washington, D.C. area, the DMV, that nobody outside of D.C. knew anything about government contracts, just based on the sheer number of businesses that are in SBA's program. What you'll see between Virginia and Maryland is close to 1,700 businesses that are in the 8A program. And when I got here to Georgia and I started looking at some of the surrounding states in South Carolina and North Carolina and look at the number of businesses that are in the 8A program, I knew something was desperately wrong because I refused to believe that we don't have more than 46 Black-owned businesses in the state of South Carolina or 73 in the state of North Carolina that can qualify into these programs. So it's no competition. And anywhere there's a military base, there's a government contract. And so what I found on the inside coming here to Georgia, this number has increased to 225, is that the businesses from DMV was coming here and winning contracts. It's saturated up in DC. No contracts. I mean, no competition here. And what's here? Someone. Why would anybody think to come to this area to win contracts?
CDC.
CDC, what else is here?
There's a military base.
Hmm?
I think there's a base here,
There's what?
a military base.
5 military bases
Mhm.
in the state of Georgia. What's downtown? In there, the Russell Federal Building?
Yes.
How many agencies in there? Come on. We got to get in the game. And I knew this on the inside, but once I got out and I started really looking at the numbers, the data tells the story. Using this website, and I'm going to take you to this website after the presentation, it allowed me to see who's really getting contracts. And what does this pie chart tell you guys?
We ain't getting much.
Huh?
We're not getting much.
Not getting much. Something is wrong.
Yes.
Something is wrong. So my goal is to get as many in the game as we can. This is my little underground railroad we got going on here, y'all. Because nobody is training, and this is how we create the generational wealth. This is our key to the future. And just to demonstrate, I pulled out what states was receiving the awards and from what agencies. So you can get a general idea who's coming here to the state of Georgia and winning these contracts. Something's wrong. And over here is the dollars that went into the 8A program to the firms in the state of Georgia. So you think about that as 225 firms. When I was servicing the business, I had 40 businesses that I was responsible for. Out of the 40 businesses, only 5 or 6 was truly winning contracts. You had businesses going the whole 9 years in that program, never winning a contract. Something is wrong. I will also encourage you. I did a webinar yesterday, and it's on my YouTube channel, to listen to one of GPI's students. He followed the plan perfectly. I wanted him to share it. He played on the outside. He got a certification this year in January, and he had 4 contracts waiting for him. Now he's not wasting any time in the program. This is our $1 billion baby. I met her again when I was at SBA, and she came through the program and when I left SBA. And last year she won a $1 billion contract managing all of USDA's real estate and their asset. The previous year, she won a $45 million contract. She stayed with the process. I'm just very proud of her. This is the website that you go and register to do business with the government, but it's also where they post opportunities. And what you'll hear often is they'll tell you to start locally because you're not prepared to compete on the federal side, and then go to the federal. And I completely disagree. Because if you think about local and state contracts, you're competing with a whole lot more people. Whereas on the federal, I could go worldwide and you don't have as much competition. I can win a contract in California. I don't have to be there. I'm the CEO. And as you can see here, what happens is the agencies do not have enough small businesses competing. So if they don't have enough small businesses competing, oftentimes that contract would go to the large corporations. So my goal is to get us in there, eliminate the competition, and have a strategy. This is an example of buys that are specifically set aside for small businesses. Buys that are 250,000 and below, they're called RFQs, are specifically set aside for small businesses. And it makes sense. Start at the low-hanging fruit. Get your feet wet. Build those relationships, and then submit your bid. So when you look at this bid, again, do I need to know anything about banners and badge holders? Anybody?
Nope.
What would you do?
Call the people that do.
Hire
Yeah.
the people. You hire the people that know the skill, that have the skill.
Not for this particular project. What would I do?
Subcontractor.
Find me 3 vendors, get some quotes,
Mhm.
and put my money on top of it.
Yeah.
But you need to make sure that vendor is capable and qualified to manage this volumes, because you don't want them to jack you up and not being able to deliver. You are the project manager. Is that making sense to y'all?
Yes.
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 This is the low-hanging fruit. So they had 2 locations that they want this volume. So you have to really screen the vendors, have them to provide example, have them to give you reference, and then you choose the best vendor, and then you put that bid in with your money on top of it, because you're going to build your time to managing the process. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just want to make sure everyone's with me. This is HUD. HUD, I like HUD's forecast. That opportunity, that's live. This is where the government is forecasting what they anticipate spending in that fiscal year. So October 1st, they're going to have a whole nother forecast. This is how you get in front of the opportunities and start building those relationships. I like HUD because they organize it where it makes sense. All of these are new contracts. I like the new contracts because you know you're not competing with someone who currently have the contracts. But what this also does is allow me to start building relationships with Adam Hester, because look like Adam is managing a whole lot of contracts, and they're already telling you when they're going to post it, when they anticipate it being awarded, and how long that contract is going to be. It's again building the relationship. So now you're able to screen and get the information long before that contract comes out. You're not reacting. Am I making sense to everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right here, this is, I don't know why they're doing full and open, but if they get enough small businesses, they'll set this contract aside for small and business. So all they're doing right here is looking for a meeting space, and you're just setting up the AV and reception. That's the low-hanging fruit. Now, how do we get into this game? You can self-certify as a small business through Systems for Awards Management. I call it such a mess. This is your test to getting a government contract. If you don't get so frustrated that you quit registering your business in SAM, but you can self-certify as a small business and self-certify as a small disadvantaged business. There are 4 formal certifications, meaning you submit a application to SBA and you're approved. The 8A Business Development Program, which is designed to build your business. The Hub Zone Program, which is designed to build communities. Women-owned and service disabled is just what they are. For the 8A program, which is a program to my heart, because this is the program for generational wealth. This is the only program that's designed to build your business. You're building your business by obtaining what they call sole source contracts up to $4.5 million, meaning you're not competing with anyone. If you market to that agency, they like you. They say, oh, we have a sole source contract for you. Are y'all hearing me?
Mm-hmm.
For 9 years.
Yes.
That's how I grew my business so quickly. That's how the people up in DC, that's why you have the largest Black wealth up in DC. If you're in the real estate industry, on your tax returns, make sure that you're not using that real estate brokerage industry code. They do not allow brokers in this program. Everybody, for the most part, will be under this 541611. 541611. 611 Management Consulting. That kind of captures everything. You only have one time to be in this program. So the game that we play, how we keep it going, is generational wealth. Stacy Mullison, someone was talking about her earlier, Gerald. She followed the blueprint. She's done about 75 million in government contracts. She leveraged that to get an Amazon contract. Now she's doing development. Her background was real estate. But 3 years ago, her son left the military. He came out as a service disabled vet. I said, get him started, start subcontracting to him now. She's graduating this year. She's trained him up. Now he's in a position to get the 8A certification. That's now 9 years of access to non-competitive contracts. So in essence, she's getting 18 years. Now her 23-year-old who just graduated college saw her brother doing it and was like, what y'all doing? Now the 23-year-old went through our program. So now she's in a position to get her own 8A certification. We've got to train and teach our own because nobody's teaching us. Does that make sense to y'all? Can I get an amen from the church?
Amen.
Amen.
Any questions? No questions? Y'all good?
Paula, I do have a question for you. I know recently with all of the, DEI stuff that's happening, I would like to just get your thoughts about the impact of that on the 8A program.
Well, what they're doing, and they've been trying to get rid of this program forever.
Yeah.
They're just slowly carving into it. They eventually, based on the administration, if Trump gets in, this is gone. But my goal is to make sure you all understand the game at first as a small business. So we're not so heavily dependent on these certifications.
Yeah.
You're going in first, I'm a small business. And by the way, I have these certifications.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to take a while before they deconstruct this. But as long as it's here, we've got to take advantage of it because this truly is the way we create the generational wealth. And it's our tax dollars.
Right.
Nobody's looking at that. All right.
All right, thank you.
Great question. The Hub Zone program is based on where your business is located. As long as your business is located in a hub zone, then that business and 35% of your employees reside in a hub zone, you can qualify into that program. For the 8A program previously, the social component of it, as long as you were a member of any one of these ethnic groups, you automatically met the social component. Now, because of the affirmative action rule, and in that lawsuit, someone sued SBA, and the company that sued it specifically said, I'm being discriminated because I'm white. And that's why all of this trauma is coming back on us. So now to meet the social disadvantage component of it, you have to document on how you've been traumatized being Black in America, demonstrating your how you've been discriminated against. This program also, which is a kept secret, allows people who have a record, but they're not on probation or parole, to start a business and get into this program. Did y'all hear me?
Yeah.
It changes the game. Because that system again was designed to free labor. Nothing has changed. But now if we're able to get those who have touched that justice system a different pathway, because most of them are in that justice system based on economics, then now we're beginning to change the communities. Can I get an amen from the church?
Amen.
Amen.
And we've got to, because everybody in our family, somebody has touched that justice system. And that's held over their head a lifetime. That doesn't make sense to me. The economic component of this is based on your net worth. As long as your adjusted net worth does not exceed $850,000, minus any equity in your home and any equity in your business, you can qualify into the program. If you have rental properties, that equity is going to count against you. If you're married, they're going to look at both partners. Both partners have to submit a financial statement, but they're going to divide it in half. You cannot have multiple companies and trying to apply into this program, because part of the eligibility requirements is that you have to be full-time under your business. And if you have multiple entities and you have revenue coming through multiple entities, you're not full-time, and SBA is not going to give you or qualify you into that program. Any questions around that?
Paula, I have a question about the net worth.
Mhm.
How about life insurance policies? Is that kind of negatively?
No, well, SBA, anything that you can get cash. If you're able to get access to cash, that's what's gonna
Okay.
count against you. Your retirement, no. It's whatever you have access to cash, what you can
Got it.
liquidate. Hmm.
I said, got it. Okay. I
Okay.
always wondered if that factored into the net worth.
No, you still have to um provide the documentation, but that's not gonna be counted against you.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Anybody else? Any questions? Okay. The hub zone, there's no certifications. I mean, there's no term limits. So if you qualify for this program, you don't have to worry about the clock ticking. There's no term limits. You recertify every year. You also get the opportunity for competitive and sole source contracts as well. But the difference with this program and the 8A program is, in order for an agency to award a contract as a sole source, they have to make sure that there are at least two businesses that are qualified to perform on that contract. That's called the rule of two. So our game here is, what we do is force the agency. So if I got two businesses that are in here right now, both of you submit on that opportunity and force the agency to do a sole source to one of the two, and y'all cut deals with each other.
Mhm.
Beat the game. Also, your principal office must be in a hub zone, and 35% of your employees must reside in a hub zone. They don't have to be in the same place as the office, as long as they're in a hub zone. You also get what they call a 10% price evaluation preference, meaning if this contract is a full and open contract, meaning anybody can compete on it, but you are part of the hub zone program, what the government will do is add 10% onto that other person's costs that's not a part of the program. As an example, let's say you submitted your bid at $535,000. Somebody outside of the program submit their bid at $500,000. The government's going to add 10% onto that 500,000, making their bid now 550, and yours remain the same as 535, and you win the contract. So that's what that 10% price valuation preference means. Now, this is the map. Once you put your address in, it's going to let you know whether or not you are in a hub zone. Hub zone are based on census tracts. So every 10 years, that area may change. You also could have counties that are hub zone, and any reservations, Indian reservations are considered hub zones. When I put in the address at my old employer's office, which is downtown Atlanta, in a high end, you have the Ritz, you have Marriott's, the hotel district, but it's still classified as a hub zone. Why do you think it's a hub zone, someone? Anybody?
I would just say because of the downtown, like 5 Points area.
It's a homeless shelter. It used to be a homeless shelter around there.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
That's what's driving it being a hub zone. And hub zone doesn't necessarily always have to be hood zones. Around schools, universities, you could find hub zone areas. The women's program, again, it's broken into two components. And right now, I think they have 2 more weeks. They've stopped taking applications in the 8A and the women's program, because they're streamlining the databases, thank goodness. Previously, if you applied for the 8A program, you had to upload information. If you're applying for the women's program, you had to upload the same information that you're uploading in the 8A, you upload it in the women's program. Now, you only have to upload these documents once. And I'm so happy that they have now streamlined it. This program is broken into two components: economically disadvantaged and WOSB. Once you're approved economically in the economically disadvantaged component, you're automatically a WOSB. The ED program is mirroring the 8A program. It's all based on your net worth. And in that program, you will be submitting tax returns, profit and loss statements. If you're just applying for the WOSB, you don't have to submit those documentations. To apply for it, again, you can go through WOSB Certify, self-certify, or you can go through a third party, and there's a fee associated with that. And part of our program, we're giving you the information to do it yourself. I want you to understand what you're uploading, because in the end, if you give it to a third party, the only thing they're doing is uploading the same information. And I want you to understand what they're uploading, and if SBA has to come back and ask you questions. You've got to get engaged. The eligibility requirements is all these programs require at least a 51% ownership. The woman must manage the day-to-day operations, hold the highest office position, and work full-time in the business. So this is the game we play. If y'all married or you have partners, y'all create entities so that you can capture the certifications. I don't want you to be partners on paper. What you do behind the scene is behind the scene, but on paper, you are legally separated, divorced, two different companies, so that you can take the advantage of the certification. It also allows, if you're married, again, one goes through the 8A program, and then the second one comes through too. Now you got 18 years in that one household. Are y'all hearing me? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We got to work the game. And you can't lie to the government. I was in Philadelphia when this became law, and all the calls we were getting were from white men trying to see how they can get their wives in the game. And if you look at a lot of the local and state, more so local certification, they classify women as minority, white women as minority business owners. So we've got to learn all the game and how it's played. Do I have any veterans online? For those who are in
Yeah.
the veterans, thank you again for your service. You also get the opportunity to have the rule of two and competitive and sole source contracts. However, for contracts under the Veterans Administration, you get top priority. No term limits in this program as well. This certification used to be under VA, now it's under SBA. The turnaround time to get certified is 2 weeks. For the women's program, that's taking 9 months, 18 weeks. 8A program generally could be they have technically it's supposed to be 90 days, but it's generally, I would say, 6 months average. But again, I don't push you into the 8A until you won some contracts as a small business. You captured 8A companies that are graduated. You made these relationships so that you have contracts waiting on you. You only have one time to get into that program. Again, there's a checklist. All of it is just documentation. Also, to clarify, people get confused with all these certifications and who's what and why I have them. For corporate, it's MBEs, WBEs, VBEs. The reason I don't necessarily like these E's because under the corporate certifications, you don't know who the players are. You don't know who's the decision maker or how much money they have. These are all the federal certifications that we just talked about. State is DBEs, and they are generally issued by the Department of Transportation. If you have a train station or transportation like MARTA, or up in DC is Metro, and in Philadelphia with Sept, they would do the certifications. And the reason I don't like the DBEs, because they don't allow you to be your own boss. You will always have to be subcontractors under a prime contractor. The local ones is SBEs or LSBEs, just based on where you are. And again, not that I don't want these dollars, but if I'm in business, I'm trying to limit my competition. And for me, it makes sense to start at the federal and then come down, because most of the time, the state and the local, they have similar rules and regulations that you're complying with on the federal side. So that's going to be incorporated into their bids. once you learn the federal, you can easily do state and local. And you have the past performance at the at the federal level. These are the organizations that do those various certifications. Again, all of the agencies are free. Any of the states are free. Before I go into our program, I want to go into, and again, I know we're at a little over, but I want to cover some of these websites so that you could understand what's out here. This website, I don't like sam.gov. Sam.gov is a lot of bugs. I use this database to go and look at opportunities. I punch here at CBD archives, and then I go to daily, and it's broken down by year and by month. So every day I can go out here and see what opportunities have been posted by the government. I like this website. It is a third-party website, but it's structured based on how the government does its acquisitions. Um, Here it's broken down by alphabet, and it's telling you what industry and what opportunities are available in that industry every day, and the number of opportunities. Parts and equipment are numbers. So you can go here and every day see what the government is looking for. And me, again, I'm looking at who do I know? Leadership courses. That's somebody in HR. I have project management. The government buys everything. This is IT. What? Information management support. They need some type of support. This was that opportunity I just showed you. So the government buys everything. There's no need to pigeonhole yourself. This database here is where all your dollars are tracked, your tax dollars. Anytime the government is spending any money, they're posting it here. Once a contract is awarded, it's posted here. And so what we use this database for, a part of our training program, is to create a strategy, because this is the only database that I know that shows you where those 8A sole source contracts are. And why is that important? You see here? Can y'all see that right here? 8A sole source. These contracts will never ever be advertised. I don't believe y'all caught there, because I didn't hear amen.
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 They will never be posted. Once that contract ends, it goes to a new 8A if that company graduated from the program. So you start positioning yourself for these contracts. I wanted to also show you another example of a young lady. Again, she started winning contracts while she was in the program, and it's going after the low-hanging fruit, those buys that are 250,000 and below. So these are 7. You see these buys? She in 1 year was just rolling, just submitting bids. This was for hotel space. This is the in and out, 3 months. That's how much that project was. The government needed a meeting space for 3 days. She found the hotel. The hotel's cost for 48,000. She put her bid in at 104,000. As run and done. So she made almost $60,000 off of that one purchase. right? And then when you
Yes.
look here, it shows you the competition. What y'all see? The competition.
One of
One.
Hmm?
one of one.
One offer. She had no competition. Here, this was landscaping. Again, she's here in Georgia. This was a 5-year contract. All right. She don't know, she's not doing landscaping. She hired somebody in Miami. Place of performance, Miami. I mean, Florida. She had a little more competition on this one. But what you do is you use this database to see what the previous award amount is, and you base your bid on what was awarded previously. That makes sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
This one, she was delivering porta potties. The government National Guard needed porta potties for a week. This is how you build. Here, it was only 2 people. You see, it was a small business set aside. So
Mhm.
that's the game that we play. My whole purpose when I created this database, I realized we have almost now, hold on, 2,600 people. And I understood once we understand the language, once we understand the power of collaboration, as you all start looking at opportunities, it's about us collaborating. So if I see a opportunity in California, I know there's people that's gone through the program that I can reach out and y'all cut a deal. Do you know the vendors? Give me some recommendations. They're gonna know that area. That's how we carry it across the US. Does that make sense to you all?
Yes.
Okay.
Love it.
I told you it's my Underground Railroad. Let me go back because I was showing you. I'm going across the states, right? They're showing you how many businesses we have in this database in the states. We've got to take over. That's all. So my program is broken into 3 modules. Oh, we have to have a minimum of 15 to start. Right now, we only have 3 people who have registered for the class that's going to start Tuesday. I'll have to push it out because I have to make sense for my trainers. It's $24.97, but I did an early bird, took off $100. If you bring in a second person, that's where the collaboration comes in. It's $1,000. So it's 13 people in here. Learn to collaborate. Put your name in there and say you're open. Y'all start reaching out. Um, it's another mechanism to be cost effective. And my goal is to get the government to pay for this sometime at some point. But the program is broken into 3 modules. The first module is business ready. Everybody starts at the same place, even if you have a business, because half of those who have a business have not set it up right, don't have the documentation, and you need to understand what SBA is going to be looking for when you start marketing to them. You're also going to change your business model. It's not going to be just based on your area of expertise. We're going to help you create divisions and a model that's going to be sustainable for years. The second module is all about collaboration. At this point, we put you on teams, and we're the government because we got to learn how to work together. Over the 9 years, some teams worked great and some teams didn't. But that's real life. You team up with people, they'll ghost you. What do? You have to make executive decision. Am I gonna let one person or one company stop me from submitting this bid? No. Only the strong survive. And some of these cohorts, people are continuing to meet even afterwards. We all understand the power of us working together. It's too hard to do this by yourself. Contract Ready is all geared around the All Small Mentor Protege program and the 8A. The All Small Mentor Protege program allows a large business to mentor you and provide you with resources. Ideally, that's what I would like you to apply for first, because you get to use someone else's resources to put your business on steroids. Get in that program and then apply into the 8A program, because now you have juice that's going to be able to support you your whole 8A. Did y'all catch that?
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Hmm? As an example, I had a company that came in. He'd been in business 2 years. He went in and got his 8A. I said, you got to find your mentor. The clock is on your back. He found him a mentor in DC. I helped him get approved into the program. They immediately created a joint venture. The next year, he had a $53 million contract under that joint venture. And then he got another one for 100 million using his mentor. They have the infrastructure. They have the resources you don't have. Again, I'm gonna change this. I honored that last week. I'm gonna take 200 off till tomorrow. And Monday I'm shutting it down. I just need to get the seats filled by Tuesday. If we don't, I'm pushing it back for another week or so. Everybody clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
The class will start Tuesday, 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. You meet weekly. Everything is recorded. I would recommend that you anticipate at least spending 2 to 3 hours outside of class. This is really set up like a school. You will have homework and lab assignments. I'm on office hours every Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m. That's where all the cohorts come together, and I'll go into a little more depth of what the trainers are teaching. Lab sessions on Thursday, she's there to support you completing your homework assignments. The whole key to this is you doing the work. And unless you do the homework and the lab assignments, it's not going to make sense to you. You've got to be committed. I took everything from my first business and created templates. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. The things that I'm giving you all through the program is generally proprietary information. Then people aren't going to give you their proposals or RFQs and their business plans. All of this, I've just created templates, because for me, it's bigger than me and you. I just need y'all to get in the game so we can provide a better future for our children's children. This next cohort will be provided by my colleague. She and I started at the same time up in DC. She had a business and she grew hers to about 20 million. She was actually one of the first businesses that got into the mentor protege program before it became this popular. And I loved what she did. She used her mentor, had her mentor purchase 20% of her company. She got all his contracts, and after 2 years, she bought back that 20%. You have to understand strategy. And for me, I practice what I teach. I'm building a team of superstars. I have SBA retirees. I have industry people, people who know more than I do. My goal is to pull all the top stars in so that you can learn. We also offer a self-pace. Those are pre-recorded, but you also have access to office hours and the templates. These are the deliverables and things that you will be required to complete at the end of each module. This is the business ready. This is the model that you're going to eventually create that's not based on your skill set. And all of that now is turned into your marketing materials. And this is the group project. This is sample templates that we're going over as it relates to RFP. And this is the code for my book. That's crazy, recognize crazy, and run. Whew, that's it. Anybody have any questions? Any questions?
Nope.
Can I get some takeaways? Can I get some takeaways? Miss Haywood,
I was
Yes,
gonna say
yes,
Miss
ma'am.
yes,
Yes. Uh-huh.
what's your
Uh,
takeaway?
oh my gosh. First of all, I've been learning the hard way that SBA and all these little, I don't know what you call them. I don't know. They're not helping me at all. Like everything you said is filling in those missing pieces, those gaps that I need. And I'm just ready to get started. I'm ready. So I'm already registered with like sam.gov and I got some things in place. It's just I haven't received any good assistance to move forward. And everything you said is right on point. So
All
yeah,
right, thank you.
absolutely.
Mr. White,
Yes, ma'am.
what you take away?
There's a lot here and there's a lot of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't take it, somebody else will.
And you've already played in and didn't even realize what you done lost over them years. I ain't gonna talk about you though. Miss Miss Benjamin, what did you take away? Uh, let,
Good morning,
yes.
everybody.
Good morning.
I was here as just an active listener to understand what's going on. Paula, I had the pleasure of meeting you a couple of weeks ago. We share a subdivision. Thank you for inviting me and my husband. We've been listening to this. So yeah, just the exposure and understanding what the opportunities are out there. I appreciate this session.
Okay. Thank you. Miss Anderson, I'm going down the list.
Yes, yes, yes. So many. Thank you again for the opportunity. So few that I captured was definitely catching the low hanging fruit. For me, I have 541611, but I've I feel like I'm doing it the hard way, right? Like I'm like, well, do I need another company just to do products? But like you said, these divisions, you can just set yourself up, right? So that was a game changer for me to kind of unlock that. Um, Partnership, partnership, partnership. Pretty much that's the key to, win these. We have to come together. And not sure you know, everybody's on the call, but in our culture, my hair's a mess, which is why I'm not on camera. But in our culture, African Americans, you always hear this crab in a bucket mentality. And so for us to be able to kind of change our mindsets. Like you said, it's enough for everybody to eat out here. We do not need to take from each other. So I feel like this is an opportunity us for really see, and we know the attack that's happening against us with these opportunities. They don't want us to know about these things. So, you leading the charge with this, letting us know that there's opportunities for us was great. So I can go on and on, but I would
I appreciate that, but I don't guarantee it. I'm not, this is not fool's gold,
yes,
fool's gold. You got to do the work.
you got to do the work. No, for
The
sure, for
ones
sure.
that do the work, I got too many receipts.
Yes, yes,
It's a
yeah. No,
proven
no, no.
methodology.
And I think that's why a lot of people kind of shy away from it, because you see 100-page RFP and you're out of there. You know what I'm saying? So like you said, you got to do the work, but you got to do, be strategic and do it smart, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what you're doing. Be ethical, do not lie. So, like you said, you have the receipts.
Okay.
So,
Let's get to it.
yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Mr.
Thank you.
Chamberlain.
Yes, ma'am. It's a lot of information, but I got two key takeaways, and you just hit on one of them. And I've heard you say them both throughout the presentation. Number one, follow the blueprint. Don't get smart. Don't get outside your lane. Follow the blueprint. And number two, do the work. You just said it again. That's the two key things that I heard repeated throughout this presentation.
Yes. Thank you.
Trust the process.
Mr. Reed, Miss Reeves. And Mr. Pressy.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. I was muted, but yeah, so this was amazing. This taught me a lot about what we don't know. And in the beginning of the call, I said it felt like it was like a hidden secret, and now I know why. So my key takeaways honestly was really not to limit your business. I feel like a lot of us get so stuck in our skill set and we want to limit ourselves, like, oh, I'm this or these are my titles, and we're missing out on a lot of opportunity and money this way. So those will be my takeaways.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Pressy.
This is my first time listening in on one of these sessions. I want to say I appreciate all the information that you provided. I'd say that it's definitely something that I don't hear from many people at all. These type of opportunities. So I'm happy that we're out here just providing information and sharing knowledge to our fellow brothers and sisters out here, and I appreciate that.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Smith. And I'm gonna shut it down if I get everybody. Ms. Smith. All right.
Hi, Donna.
Miss Green. Miss Green.
It's Miss Green. Hello, everyone. I have found my tribe. I am so happy to be a part of this. It's networking, collaboration, and like we said, we Black people don't like to work together. So I am looking forward to this. I'm just excited.
Okay. I think I got everybody. And I
Except
know we're way over.
Valerie Patrick.
Who?
Yes.
Yes, Miss Patrick. Yes.
I saw that